Okay, here you can see the parts taken out of the small packages. On the left top side you can see the main circuit board with two small boards. The two small boards are adapter boards. They're used for the coils that determine the receiver frequency, because this kit can receive on shortwave and medium wave, depending on which coil you put in. Below that we see some standard 1/4 watt resistors. The lower ones, the 3 ones that have just one ring, seem to be wire bridges with 0 ohms. And there are two big resistors. I'm guessing they're used to drop the voltage for the tube filaments, but I'm not sure since I haven't yet checked the manual. Okay, the two parts, the black parts, the small ones with the two wires, are varactor diodes, variable capacitor diode. Left to it is the audio amplifier chip, and right to it are two other standard diodes. I guess one is a Zener diode and one is a wrong polarity protection diode. I'm not sure, I haven't checked it, I'm just guessing. Next to that we have some ceramic disc capacitors, the yellow and blue ones, some electrolytics, the round ones, and on top, next to the circuit board, some screws for later mounting the circuit board so it can stand on a table. On the right side we have some potentiometers. One is the volume control, one is the regeneration control, and one is the tuning control for tuning on stations. Below that we have some adapters and some other stuff. Like you can see, we have some coils, the green parts, and the main tubes next to their sockets. These are all parts that were inside the small packages of this kit. Okay. So this is a short review of the kit. I've built it obviously, so it's completed. And from what it looks like, I'm really impressed with it. I would give it a B+ school mark. It's nearly the best mark that you can get, but I'm not giving it the best mark because it is definitely a good kit. But I have a guess that these tubes are not really glowing when it's put on. So you cannot see the filament glowing. I'm not sure, I haven't tested it, but I'm guessing. And this is something that I want to have on a tube kit. I want to see that the filament is glowing, because this is why you buy a vacuum tube kit, in my opinion. Everything else is really good. The manual is very well explaining things. It gives you a short information about the historical side of this radio receiver. They have made diagrams of coils, how it works. They give you tips how to solder in the parts, search mistakes if you build something wrong. I even read that they are offering warranty. So if you do not want this kit and you haven't yet soldered it, you can put it back and get your money back. So this is definitely not bad. Also, there is a parts list, and someone has handwritten the numbers behind the parts, as if someone has counted the parts and ensured that all parts are inside the kit that you need to build, and there was also not any part missing. There is one resistor, R14, which is not used, and there is also no R10 on the board, but in the manual they write that these components are not supposed to be mounted or do not exist, so there's nothing wrong there. Okay, so I cannot yet say how sensitive this device is going to be. This will be in the next part of the video. I'm going to make an on-air test, connect it to an antenna and do a test of it. But as far as it's looking right now, I'm really liking this. The circuit board takes on the solder very well. Explanations how to build it are very good. And hey, I mean, it's a tube/hybrid kit. So you have the tubes for the radio circuit, and also the design seems to be very nice, because what I have read, I have not really read them, and I've just looked over it and seen, okay, are they describing this, are they describing that, what would need to be into a radio kit. And it seems like that they're using one tube as RF preamplifier and the other tube as actual receiver, so it should have a really good sensitivity. Okay, so let me hook up a power supply to it and a speaker and antenna and earth connection, and then we'll see how well this one performs. Once again, if you want a tube kit, as far as from the building side, as far as it goes now, I'll definitely recommend that one to you, because also it has these screws and it's standing on top, and you can very well get to the controls, and they also give you some knobs so you can do some fine alignment or fine adjustment, so nothing wrong there. The only thing why I didn't get the best mark is because I'm guessing at this point, when I plug it in, it will work, but I won't see the filament from the tubes glowing, because usually my experience with tubes is these ones seem to have a very low power consumption for the filament, and so you can't really see it glowing. But on another tube, where you can see the filament glowing, it takes a lot of current only for the heater. And they probably could have also done it with other tubes, but then your batteries would like go for 1, maybe 2 hours, and then it would be empty. And with these tubes, they will last maybe 4 or 5, 6 hours, I don't know. Okay, so now let's check the next video for an actual test of this kit on an antenna. And I have a big speaker here, because there is this special plug here, headphone-like plug for a speaker. And I do have one speaker that will fit here. It's a very big speaker, so we get a good feeling how good this device is going to sound. And I will use the big speaker and connect it, and then we'll see. Okay, so far from that. Okay. This is the part where we now take the tubes and bolt them into the sockets. Here I have one tube, and obviously it needs to be put in here. So the problem with the tube is, when you want to push it in, you can put it in and push it with really much force into these sockets, but this is not the way you are doing it, because inside the tube there is vacuum in the tube, and the problem is that there's already lots of force going on the glass, pushing the tube together, if you want to call it like that. And if you put it into the socket and then you push it really hard, eventually the tube will break, and then the kit won't work because you don't have both tubes. So I'll show you how you put in the tube. So here I want to show you how you put in the tube. So first you look at the contacts, because you can see that 2 contacts are far away from each other, meanwhile the other contacts are very close. So obviously this way the tube belongs into the socket. So now what you want to do is, you want to put in the tube, push it in and wiggle it, so it will go in part by part. Do not push it like this, just carefully wiggle it so it goes in. So now I have the tube put inside. It's already in, but it's not in. I will show you how to put it in. So this is the tube already stuck inside the socket, but I could easily remove it. Now the tube has been installed into the socket. You may eventually bend it a little bit over so it's very straight. And now we go ahead and bolt in the other tube. So this is the review about the kit, the final review. And the mark is getting a little bit worse. I made it a B+, and now I'm going from a B+ to a B-. And this is because the kit is not so as sensitive as it should be. First I made mistakes. You'd see that this circuit board had changed, and also I have added these wire bridges that you can see here. I forgot them, and I changed the potentiometers from upside to down, because it was, when I was turning to silent, it got louder, and when I was turning to louder, it got silent. I got them in the wrong way. So what bothers me is the sensitivity, because they have put in really lots of effort in this design. You have a low pass filter here that should stabilize the regenerative receiver, which is this tube, and you have the RF preamp, which is this tube. So they have two tuned circuits. They have one tuned circuit here and one tuned circuit here. And for what it is, it should just perform better. I mean, if I would just clip on an alligator clip here, which is like 1 feet, a little bit more than 1 feet, let's say 1.5 feet long, you should already pick up stations, but I was connecting a 4 meter long wire, or around 12 feet or so. I haven't measured it. And the problem was that, it's 13 feet, I don't know, somewhere in that range. The problem was that I could indeed pick up stations, but it's winter and it's at the night. And in winter and at the night, you should pick up lots of stations and not just a few ones. Well, there were some stations, if you work with the regeneration, you probably would get them in. But it's just, for what it is, the audio quality is okay. It's sounding very good. If you got a station tuned in, very good. But the problem is that it's just not as sensitive as it should be. Still, I recommend it for you if you want to build a tube-based radio or a tube radio. This is the kit you want to get. After fixing the mistakes, reading the schematic where they write even in red color, it's important, add these bridges on the coils, because first when it was working I couldn't tune in any station. So I could tune, but it didn't do anything. And this is because the bridges were missing on the boards. But as you fix it, it will work. So yeah, not much else to say about this kit. I don't know the price about it because it was a present for me. And obviously now it's working. You just saw a band scan. But once again, for what it is, I mean, the amount of effort they put into it, it just should perform a little bit better. Okay, so buy it if you want to have a short, or if you want to have a kit that can be built in a short time with tubes, and you have a tube radio with hybrid with an integrated circuit amplifier. But yeah, I'm okay with it. I don't say it's bad, I don't say it's the best. It's good, but not the best. Okay, this is about the kit that I got. So now let's do a band scan with the receiver. It's powered by a 12-volt power supply, which is stabilized 12 volts. Here I have a 4 meter long antenna and a ground connection, which has been connected. The volume has been set to middle. On the output there is this speaker connected. I tried another speaker, but it didn't work, because both channels are bridged, and if you put in a mono connector, it will make a short circuit and this chip will get hot. So I found that problem and I changed it. And now let's do a band scan. Machen wir einen Bandscan. Okay.